Gambia's police force has rounded up 96 people in its second-day operation against crime in the Greater Banjul areas. The Africa CDC is initiating plans to buy more COVID-19 vaccines to support member countries contain the pandemic. And the South African government will provide funding for black farmers to help them access to commercial agricultural projects. Well, this and more coming your way on News Desk. Hello, this is Africa TV and many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante and now the news in detail. Now, the Gambia Police Force has rounded up 96 people on the second day since the launch of the Operation Zero Crime. The enforcement targeted various criminal hideouts within the Greater Banjul area and West Coast regions, according to a police dispatch on Sunday. On the list of suspected criminals, 27 are non-Gambians whose arrests were in connection to several offenses, including going armed in public and possession of drugs. A day before, the Gambia police arrested more than 100 suspects, including 3 women, in a joint security high-visibility patrols. The police high command assured the public that the conduct of the security personnel was strictly within the confines of the law. Now, the Africa Center for Disease Control and Prevention says more than 40 African countries have received the coronavirus vaccines as part of efforts to contain the virus in the continent. The remaining countries are expected to receive their share of the vaccines as the Continent Health Organization signed a deal to purchase more doses. Africa, like any other continent, is relying on the vaccines to overcome the persistent COVID-19 pandemic. Here is more details of that in this report.
Africa CDC said 28 nations have received COVID-19 vaccines through the global COVAX mechanism, and about 20 countries have received theirs outside of COVAX through bilateral deals. So far, 48 out of 54 African states have received vaccines.
39.1 million vaccine doses have been acquired by member states, with approximately 10.3 million doses having been administered. The majority of those being vaccinated include healthcare workers, people with comorbidities, and elderly, that is, those above 50 years and above and beyond.
Africa CDC has also announced a new contract has been signed with Johnson & Johnson for the continent to get more than 400 million doses of vaccines.
The deal is actually structured, or the agreement is actually structured such that 220 million doses will be available, with an option of increasing the purchase of an additional 180 million doses for a total of 400 million. The vaccines supplies will be from the Aspen Biopharma plant in South Africa.
According to Africa CDC's observation, the spread of the virus is still alarming on the continent. Africa, just like the rest of the world, is banking on the COVID-19 vaccines coming in to soon see the end of the pandemic.
48 African countries have so far received the COVID-19 vaccines as the Africa CDC worked on plans, of course, outlining plans to get more COVID-19 doses. Now, the Hub Limited on Saturday held a robotic presentations of 2 groups of kids ranging from kids from 6 to 9 for the first group, and the second group the age of 10 to 14. Now, during the past 3 months, the Hub and the Robotics Hub ventured into a partnership to train children in introduction to search and programming concepts. Robotics employs the use of analytic engineering and technology in using programming concepts to mark robots' function. Fatma Kasim has more details of that in this report.
Robotics is the intersection of science, engineering, and technology that produces machines known as robots that are capable of replicating human actions. Birandonde Gilen, co-founder of Hub, introduced the program to train children on the fundamentals of programming, the building of robots, and instructing them to operate under commands. She encouraged parents and guardians to allow their children to think out of the box and not to confine into academic theories.
What we always tend to miss in Gambia is that children learn in different ways, and children are gifted in different ways. But what we always try to do is keep them in a box. We're very rigid. You either study science, commerce, or arts. That's not the world we live in now. The world we live in is ruled by technology. Children have to explore and let them see what they enjoy and what makes them happy and what really tickles their fancy. And at the end of the day, if you allow them to be able to really try out new things, you'll realize that not everyone is made to sit in a university classroom. Some people are meant to actually to work on technology, but not necessarily have to have academic qualifications in the process.
Birandonde described the program as an introductive phase from where higher levels in the usage of technology will be introduced.
Because this is something that we're going to probably see more of as we keep rolling the program round and round. I would say allow the children to really explore when it comes to digital means, and allow them to really understand how they can use technology, not only to WhatsApp or Instagram or do all those other things, Facebook, but to actually productively use the internet and technology to better their lives.
The Robotic Hub came into being after the Pan-African Robotic Competition, which featured the victory of the Gambian team in the tournament. The hub was then set up, beginning with summer classes on the basic concept of the technology for school-going children aspiring for higher education in artificial intelligence. For iAfrica News, I am Fatma Kasim.
Initiators of robotic technology presentation, they are encouraging parents to allow their kids to take part in such wonderful programs. And there's more news coming ahead, but of course, for now, we'll take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the story. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
The pride we take in our brand, the work we put into constantly change the landscape and elevate real estate in the Gambia, it's compared to none. From inception, our goal was to add value to the beautiful Gambian landscape. That's why we are proud innovators of community estates. Kololi Sands is an exceptional piece of work, tailored for ultimate convenience and luxury, to bring you an element of finesse that is rare but unique in its own. This is also our pride and joy, and we welcome you to the exquisite beauty right here in Kololi and right here on the waterfront. Kololi Sands, feel the ocean breeze at your doorstep.
Welcome back, and this is iAfrica TV, and once again, thanks for joining us. Now, the lives of Nigerians displaced due to the ongoing terrorist insurgency in the northeast of Nigeria has become more deteriorating thanks to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. About $1 billion is needed to uplift the status of the affected people, according to the United Nations. However, only 55% of the needed funds were raised in 2020 due to the coronavirus pandemic. Here's more details of that.
Forced to flee violence and terrorism, this camp offers no escape from the memories of pain. Hawa Ibrahim lost 4 siblings to Boko Haram attacks and had to flee northeast Nigeria in 2014. Since then, she's lived at this camp for displaced persons in Abuja, and she says life has only gotten worse by the day.
It still hurts when I remember how they killed my brothers and my sisters, especially as life here is so difficult. No good food, shelter or water. I wish the government can end the war so we can go back home.
As part of the effort to support millions of victims of the insurgency, the United Nations says $1 billion will be used to provide life-saving assistance. This aid will include the provision of food, health, water, sanitation and access to education for millions of vulnerable people in various IDP camps in the north. Over the last 3 years, humanitarian appeals of about $1 billion have been met by the UN for victims of insurgency in Nigeria. Last year, as a result of COVID-19, only 55% of the funds were realized and people are suffering more.
COVID-19 impacted on people already who are down. This is something that is extremely serious. It has damaged their livelihoods. It has damaged their opportunities to survive. For 2021, this amount of money will be able to reach up to 6.5 million people who are in extreme need out of 8.7 million people who are in need altogether. But the targeting will be for 6.5 million.
More than 80 local and international humanitarian agencies, including the World Food Programme and Red Cross, will be working with the Nigerian government to ensure these funds, when secured, are carefully utilized. The UN says the government will need to do more to end the war against insurgency as a lasting solution and encourage humanitarian assistance in the north.
Until there is peace, until there is a removal of conflict and violence and displacement of the people, it's difficult to see hope in the future. And the humanitarians who are dedicated, who have been helping people, are not in fact safe from this violence. Last year, a number of them were killed, a number were abducted, a number are unaccounted for. As a result, this has put Nigeria as one of the most difficult places for humanitarians to work.
Despite the government's efforts to end the war on insurgency since 2009, more than 30,000 people have been killed and over 2 million displaced from their homes.
President Muhammadu Buhari has promised to halt insurgency before the end of his tenure in 2023 after replacing the country's heads of military in January. The government has also commenced a plan to rehabilitate, resettle and reintegrate victims of insurgency back into the society.
The hope is that these promises are kept so that the likes of Hawa can return to their normal lives soon.
And from the report there in Nigeria, finally to South Africa now. Now, in a bid to boost agricultural production, South Africa has launched an agri-industrial fund to support black farmers. The new farming initiative aims to provide capital for the targeted farmers, enable them to access to commercial agricultural projects. South African black farmers usually struggle to access to funding, but the government is out to change the narratives. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Transformation in South Africa's agricultural sector has been a slow process, but the new agri-industrial fund aims to change that. The $68 million fund is meant to assist black farmers gain access to capital to pursue large-scale commercial agricultural projects. The fund is a joint initiative by South Africa's Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development and the state-owned Industrial Development Corporation.
The real aim is to help commercialization, because I think we want to develop a competitive agro-processing, sector. There are players, but there are some, black emerging farmers that are battling to actually break through. So we want to create and contribute to a competitive industry.
The Agri-Industrial Fund will target commodities in the food, beverage, fiber, forestry, and agro-derivative industries, which present an abundance of opportunities. These opportunities are often difficult to access, though, for black farmers due to a lack of funding. But the government is now putting up the cash injection.
We are addressing, the gap in capital, but also encouraging clients who are focused on high-value export-orientated crops, the likes of citrus, avocado, table grapes, poultry, livestock, but also guys who are looking at expansionary acquisition to buy into good, going concerns, commercial farms.
As part of the funding process, a skills audit will also be carried out to plug the skills gap, and training and mentorship programs will take place. Financial institutions will also assist black farmers with financial management, and uptake agreements are being negotiated with supermarkets. These are all measures that have been welcomed by the farmers.
People are currently not having enough markets to sell. So the retailers are part and parcel of the drive of this transformation, that our people be part also of the economy, you see. So I think the government did this effort at the right time.
The launch of the Agri-Industrial Fund comes in the back of agricultural land being allocated by the government to black emerging farmers. The move is meant to further align the government's ambition to empower black emerging farmers and bring them closer to the mainstream economy.
South Africa, black farmers to be supported by the government to, of course, enable them access to, of course, agricultural, commercial farming projects in the country. And with that report there, we finally bring this news bulletin to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, you can log on our website, tunaafrica.tv. But for now, though, many thanks for the privilege of your company. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and bye for now.